Information was released today which suggests that there is a serious health issue with respect to Hillary Clinton, and it should not be ignored, and it's not a position of the conspiracy kooks. Well, maybe it is, but that doesn't matter. She used the fact that she had a concussion to tell the FBI numerous times she couldn't remember things. Reuters, Clinton tells FBI she could not recall all briefings on preserving documents. Now, either she had a problem or she is a liar, or both. She can't remember the security briefing she had. She can't remember the briefing she had on the handling of federal documents. So she clearly has a memory problem. And I will say this. The top leadership of the FBI, not the working men and women there, the top leadership of the FBI needs to be replaced. They're hopelessly politicized. They're a joke. So here's the story. Hillary Clinton, from Reuters, under questioning by federal investigators over whether she had been briefed on how to preserve government records as she was about to leave the State Department, said she had suffered a concussion, was working part-time, and could not recall every briefing she received. Now, this is big news. Clinton, the nominee of the Democrat Party, raised the health scare during her 3.5-hour interview with the FBI and Justice Department prosecutors on July 2nd, according to an FBI summary released today. Now, why is the FBI releasing the summary on a Friday before the 3-day Labor Day holiday? Because the FBI is thoroughly and completely, at the senior levels, politicized. This is called a news dump or a records dump. Because they know most of the media will be asleep at the wheel, will be taking off, they'll have subs, what have you. Well, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Let's continue this. Besides the 11-page interview summary, the FBI also released other details of its investigation into her use of an authorized private email system, unauthorized, while running the State Department, in which it concluded she mishandled classified information, but not in a way that warranted a criminal prosecution. Well, of course it did. And of course it does. So the top levels of the FBI have been sullied. They are special pleaders and defenders of Hillary Clinton. So she says she couldn't recall her briefings on how to handle classified information. However, the summary says, in December 2012, Clinton suffered a concussion and then around the new year had a blood clot, the FBI summary said. Based on her doctor's advice, she could only work at State for a few hours a day and could not recall every briefing she received. That's big. That's very, very big. She suffered a concussion so severe she had significant memory loss. When you suffer a concussion like that, in many instances, ladies and gentlemen, you do permanent damage. And I don't say this because I want to be provocative or giddy. I'm telling you, you have permanent damage when you suffer a concussion like this. And we've heard about the football players and so forth and so on. But men and women out there who are not football players, who are not athletes, you suffer a concussion where she says she couldn't remember all these briefings and she had a blood clot. And she could only work a few hours a day. She could not recall every briefing she received, she said. That's significant. A Clinton campaign aide said Clinton only Why do I care what a Clinton campaign aide has to say? All these propagandists. It goes on. The concussion was widely reported then. And Republicans have since used it to attack the 60-year-old candidate's health in a way her staff said is unfounded. I don't remember which Republicans are attacking her health. So by raising a legitimate question about her health, and it is legitimate now, she raised it in her FBI interview on July 2nd. Of course it's legitimate. The FBI report, which does not quote Clinton directly, is ambiguous about whether it was her concussion that affected her ability to recall the briefings. The FBI declined to provide further comment on the report. Well, she said, or certainly insinuated, it was the concussion. Quote, however, in December of 2012, let me go back, Clinton suffered a concussion and then around the new year had a blood clot, the FBI summary said. Based on her doctor's advice, she could only work at State for a few hours a day and could not recall every briefing she received. Why is this confusing to Reuters? Doesn't seem to be confusing to me. Clinton has said that in hindsight she regretted using a private email system while Secretary of State. No, she doesn't. And in fact, 17,500 more emails have been found, including emails that have classified information. She doesn't regret using a private service, ladies and gentlemen. She regrets being caught. And this isn't some IT scandal. This is a national security scandal. This is a scandal that goes to violations of the Espionage Act, violation of the Federal Records-Keeping Act. According to the report, Clinton told the FBI she did not set up a private email server to sidestep the law. Now, first of all, do you expect her to confess during an FBI interview? She is a lawyer, after all. Oh, I set it up to avoid all responsibility. She's never going to say that. So she said she didn't set up a private email server to sidestep the law requiring her to keep her business communications a matter of public record. The documents also show that Clinton contacted, why does it matter that she contacted Colin Powell? And who cares what Colin Powell had to say? What the hell does that have to do with anything? Why do we care? We don't care. That's a diversion. Now, the FBI has since concluded Clinton was wrong to say that she didn't receive classified information. She said repeatedly she did not use it or send or receive classified information. The government forbids handling such information outside secure channels. Well, the government forbids it, but apparently it's not prosecuted, right? Isn't that where we are? So what happens? You get to run for president of the United States? The FBI has since concluded Clinton was wrong to say that. At least 81 email threads, that's more than one email. 81 email threads contained information that was classified at the time, although the final number may be more than 2,000, the report said. Hello, America! Maybe more than 2,000 occasions of classified information. Some of the emails appear to include discussion of planned future attacks by unmanned United States military drones, the FBI report showed. Quote, Clinton believed the classification level of future drone strikes depended on the context. The FBI's interview summary said the U.S. government requires that military plans be classified. What context? What does it matter, the context? The FBI released its report on Friday afternoon before the Labor Day holiday weekend, a time many Americans are preparing to travel. Well, because my program is heard by all you folks in your cars if you're traveling, or in your vans, or in your RVs, you're hearing it. Because they probably counted on somebody like me taking off today. No way. State Department spokesidiot John Kirby said he would not comment on the FBI's findings because the department does not have the full insight into the FBI's investigation. He declined to say whether State Department officials still discuss the planning of future attacks using drones and unclassified emails. I'm not going to speak to past email practices, he said. We trust State Department employees to use their best judgment. Huh? Is this their best judgment? But it gets down to this, ladies and gentlemen. Several things are revealed by this, unwittingly or otherwise. Number one, Hillary Clinton suffered such a severe concussion. She had a blood clot. She was working at the State Department part-time. And she says to the FBI, her memory failed her. She couldn't remember all her briefings. That's a significant matter. And let me say, yes, her health records now should be released. Her health records now should be released voluntarily. Because you're talking about somebody who could be president of the United States. And we have a right to know before, God forbid, if she becomes president of the United States. We have a right to know that before we vote. So she brought it up. She used it in her interview with the FBI. She couldn't remember all her briefings. It's the concussion, the blood clot. Her doctor told her to work part-time at the State Department. That's important information. That's number one. Number two, perhaps more than 2,000 cases of classified information was wrongly handled by Hillary Clinton. She said none. Then we get 81. Now we're told the final number may be more than 2,000. That's from the FBI report. Number three, what have we learned? We have learned that at the highest level of the Federal Bureau of Investigation under Mr. Comey, that they have conducted an obstruction of justice campaign. They couldn't stop the FBI investigators, the men and women who do the hard work at the FBI. They couldn't stop them from doing their job. But when the decision came to the top of the FBI, whether or not to pull the prosecution trigger, that is, whether to recommend charges against Hillary Clinton, they obstructed it. That is, they killed it. Even though the case is so overwhelming, I've never seen anything like this. Now, they may try to hide this on a Friday afternoon before a holiday weekend. But now the millions of you who listen to this program, AM, FM radio, satellite radio, on your Mark Levin app, on your iHeart Radio app, who download it on your iPods, Millions and millions of you now know the facts. This is a big deal. Just like the Iran thing's a big deal. This is a big deal. We now have a candidate who's a crook, who's a liar, who's a fraud, and may have, based on her own comments to the FBI in a 3.5-hour interview on July 2nd, may have serious health issues. That's according to her, because she can't remember all the briefings she had.